It's all good. So you've been a chef 20 years.
Yeah.
You've been in the game, started at McDonald's. We talked about how fast food restaurants really create that camaraderie, that respect within food. No matter what kind of food you're cooking, it definitely gives you a good base of respect.
Yeah, and I loved it because, you know, living in New York, you encounter everybody, right? So we was working with Chinese guys to Mexican guys to Dominican guys. Like, it was such a mix. And, you know, in the early 90s, too, like, you know, we was trying to get our money, you know what I'm saying? Like, 300 a week was, like, amazing for us, you know what I'm saying? Buy a pair of kicks, you know what I'm saying? You got some cash for the rest of the week. But, you know, it was really just an amazing start to kind of falling in love with the game, you know?
Right. What did your parents do?
My mom's a nurse because I'm Filipino.
Right.
And my dad worked in the same hospital that she did. He was doing laundry down in the bottom in the basement, like doing all the sheets and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so.
How long were they together before they had you?
Maybe like 14 years. So my brother is 14 years older than me.
Okay.
And so so you know it was really, I'm the middle kid, and so they really kind of put a lot of emphasis on that kind of like hard work, that immigrant mentality,
right?
Especially coming to this country in the early '90s and you know leaving the kind of like really rural area in the Philippines and then coming to right to the South Bronx and then being able to just like try to assimilate. It's been crazy,
yeah. That's wild, man. So you're born in New York.
No, I was raised in New York. I was born in the Philippines.
Born in the Philippines. Okay. Yeah. Why did you decide to move over here?
My mom got a job as a nurse.
Right.
Yeah. So
that was,
you know, they just
American dream style.
You know how
like,
that
let's
go.
go.
Yeah, there was flooding nurses out of the Philippines like crazy.
Really.
After the war in Lebanon and all that stuff over there. So, you know, I think the highest commodity, they were saying that the highest commodity right now in the Philippines is nurses.
Right.
They're just bodies. You know what I mean? So. She was part of that, you know, part of that immigration, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you come over here, and what's your first kind of reaction? Like, oh, this is New York?
You know, the Bronx in the early '90s was, it wasn't like pretty like how it is now. You know, like this is like still burning garbage cans, crackheads, needles, and like. So I'm coming off the plane, and my mom didn't say nothing about the aesthetics of this space.
Right.
And I just come into the block, and I was walking like this. With my bowl haircut, just looking around like, what the fuck am I getting into?
Yeah.
And like I hear hip hop music, salsa, like, you know what I mean? Like all type of stuff. So, you know, we really, you know, me and my family really had to assimilate as being the only Filipinos in the space in that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we really had to assimilate and really kind of survive the situation. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who did you sort of, was there any groups that you kind of held into first? With the Latinos were open arms?
Easy. Dominicans, easy.
Hey, yo,
you know, uptown, you know, we're from uptown, Tato, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just linked up with the Dominicans, the Haitians, and kind of really, you know, step foot in that world. And some of my best friends to this day are like, you know, since I was little, since I was like 9, 10 years old. And, you know, the families took us in and like really, you know, showed us their love language is food, which is, you know, I guess every minority's love language is food. So I got introduced to mondongo, mofongo, you know what I'm saying, the tres golpes in the morning, you know what I'm saying, habichuela con dulce, like all type of shit. I ate all that, you know what I'm saying? So it was really food was really a denominator in the space when I was growing up there in New York. So it was, you know, it was a great time, and I learned about cultures through food. Right. And I learned about, you know, other people's empathy through food. So it was such an amazing childhood, really.
Right. That's dope, man. When did when you got that first job and you fell in love with the kitchen, did you know? Like, you're like, this is it for me?
Yeah. I told my mom, matter of fact, before that, I told my mom I wanted to get a pair of sneakers. And she was like, go get a job at McDonald's, right? So she really, subconsciously started me out on the journey. And then when I fell in love with the space and like fell in love with the food and the people, I realized that I told my mom, you know, I wanted to be a chef, and she started laughing in my face again. She said, you should be a nurse. Chefs don't make money like that, you know what I'm saying? And so I just kept that in the back of my mind, and I just like had cooking as my side hustle while I was like going to school and like trying to figure out what I want to be, you know, like, you know, I wanted to be an English major one time. I wanted to be a nurse one time. I wanted to be, other things one time, and it just didn't really work out,
Right.
So
It's that blue collar dreams, baby.
yeah. So food has always been my crutch, and I've always come back to it. So I just kind of forced myself and dove myself into making it into my passion, what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
All right. So after Mickey D's, how many years you worked there?
I was there for 2 years, and then I did I did White Castle down the block.
Okay.
And I was there for a couple of years.
Right.
And then I left, and I moved to Provo, Utah, because one of my when I was younger, one of my best friends, we used to go to church. We used to be Mormons, and so they was like, "Look, we don't want to be a statistic." We was like 18 years old,
Right.
coming out of high school, and they just come out to Utah. Let's grow up there. Like, let's not make these mistakes that we did in New York. And so we went there, and two dumbass knucklehead New Yorkers in Provo, Utah, in the middle of this state. Of course, we're gonna cause ruckus. We're like 18 years old, out here looking like fucking paid in full and shit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Driving around in a fucking burgundy Acura with the peanut butter insides. You know what I'm saying? Acting stupid and shit. And so we ended up doing the same shit we was going to in New York anyway.
Right.
And so we just had a
Can't
great
hide
time
over there, though.
Yeah, we had a great time and met some really great people. And then, I obviously still had the food shit on the side while we was doing other stupid shit. But, it was really good having that experience for 7 years there. And then I came back to New York after Obama became president. I think it was 09 or 08, 09. And I was listening to him talk about, his challenges to get to that point. And I just decided, I was like, man, I was high as fuck in my room. I was like, yo, if this motherfucker made it, I can fucking do it too in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I came back home to New York, and I just really started working on trying to get into the business. I didn't really have that much experience. It's always been fast food and all that. So I started tapping into some of these restaurants in New York, and I got lucky as I went to a culinary school for people that came out of jail, and instead of paying $45,000 in ice or French culinary, I paid $4,000 for my joint, and I still got the same paper. You know what I'm saying? And so I went to that, and then they had an internship with the Food Network, and I got lucky, and I got an internship in the Food Network. Getting paid $9.75 or some crazy shit, and it was super cool to see food media. But the best part about the Food Network was they had a library, and the library was just all cookbooks. Just imagine, the El Bulli fucking situation, the whole set, bro, and fucking Greg Atkitt's, fucking Rocco Despirito, fucking everybody, Noma, everybody's cookbook was there. So every time I would go on break, you would just catch me in the fucking library, books laid out, just looking at people's journeys, you know what I'm saying? Understanding how they got there, started writing my own checklist. And sometimes I would be in the library so much I would pass the fuck out, drooling on the fucking cookbooks and shit. And so, I just made my little checklist, and, through food media, asked some questions, talked to Bobby Flay a little bit, asked him about my career, and they all said the same thing. You got to earn your stripes. You can't just be a chef, coming out of school, right? And so I started working at this place. I lied in my resume, and I started working at this place called West. West in French means West, West, and it was in the Upper West Side, and it was a chef named Tom Valenti. He was one of the people that came up with Jonathan Waxman, fucking Patrick Clark, Larry Forgione, OG, old school chefs.
Right.
And he came up with them, and he had this little French brasserie in the Upper West Side, and I started cooking for him. And that's when I really started to understand the culture of chef world, because the cooks that was there was young white cooks, right, mixed with the Mexicans, and all they talked about was food. I mean, the language was food all the time. Right. Talked about restaurants like Oriel, Rouge Tomate, Aquavit, all these restaurants that they wanted to work at next after they got out working from there. So it was a great era to be in, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's gung-ho about being a chef. Anthony Bourdain shit was just popping. So all this stuff was accumulating, right? And really learned about the industry through them. And I got fired after 6 months because I couldn't keep up doing New Year's Eve, and I got kicked off the line and shit. Cut my fingers and all that. It's crazy, but I got fired. And the one thing he told me was look, go somewhere else, learn get your chops up a little bit more and come back to me. We'll have a space for you. It was
Right.
really cool for him to just pull me to the side
Yeah,
and tell me that.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Because he cared.
He cared because he saw like how
Yeah.
dedicated I was. And so, yeah, from there, I just started really following my checklist, and I started following chefs like Marcus Samuelson, Marcus Glocker, Daniel Boulud. So I just started doing stages at these places on my days off, and like just started understanding how the Michelin star system started working. And I got lucky and started working at like Rouge Tomate, Oreo, and I started working at these places,
Yeah.
Aquavit. And then I worked at a restaurant called Rayuela in the Lower East Side with a chef named Maximo Tejada, a Dominican chef, right? And one day I was walking to work, and this chef friend of mine was like, "Yo, Rene Redzepi's in town with David Chang." I was like, "Oh, who the fuck is? I don't know who Rene Redzepi is, right? Like, I don't know none of these motherfuckers, you know, right? David Chang, all this, right? I don't know none of them." So he's like, "Yo, come through, son." Like, so we came, we waited online. We was at the public library.
Right.
That shit was like $10 to get in through the door, and I was like, "Yo, I ain't got $10. I'm a broke ass cook."
Right,
you know
right,
what I'm saying? I remember this so vividly. So this old black lady goes, come on, honey, don't worry about the line. You can skip it," because she saw I had my knife bag and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went to sat down, and like this was when Rene Redzepi was hot, like 2010.
Right.
We came out with the cookbook. You know, he had the whole
He
tour.
was riding that wave.
Riding the wave, crazy.
Right, right.
So he came through and did the whole presentation. And I came up to the mic. I got footage of this shit. Came up to the mic, and I was like, I don't work for none of these big names. Like, how can I work? How can I stage for you? He's like, I can't say no to you, all my friends. And it was like 600 motherfuckers in the stadium, right?
Right.
And like, I can't say no to all my friends in front of my friends. Like, let's talk afterwards. And that's how I got my stage at Noma.
Dope. So you held them up for it. You're like, yo,
to.
bitch.
I had to.
You used your shot.
Come on, I had to.
You only got one shot, bro.
I only got one shot. I didn't work at fucking France. I didn't work on this. I'm working at a fucking mid-level restaurant in the Lower East Side called Rayuela nobody heard about. You know what I'm saying? And so he kept to his word. And for a year, I worked 3 jobs and like saved up money. You know what I'm saying? Close to like 10 racks, you know?
Right.
And then I flew out to fucking Copenhagen.
You made that shit happen for yourself.
Yo, you know, looking back at that time, like that really changed the whole perspective of cooking for me, because it really made me realize, yeah, damn, your food is really saving my life right now. Like I'm fucking in Copenhagen.
Yeah.
I've never flew this way back this way, like since I came to fucking America. And I'm in this fucking 2-star Michelin restaurant with, you know, and these are the baddest motherfuckers, right?
That's
like
right.
Tom Halpin, what's his name? Matt from Amas, you know.
Orlando.
Matt Orlando from Amas, right?
Juicy was there?
Nah, this is way before Juicy.
Way before even Juicy.
I was 2011, cuz. So I was OGs. I'm talking about OGs of Sam Nutter, Victor Wagman, fucking Oliver Stevens, like old school motherfuckers that made Noma, right? That made Noma. That cookbook that made that.
Right,
so I came around that time. And Rosio Sanchez, oh, fuck, it was so crazy, bro.
Damn, bro.
Badass motherfuckers, yo. So I came through, and I was scared, to tell you the truth. Yo, I was so scared. Like, I ain't know nothing else but just to fucking bust my ass, man.
Right.
That's
Work
all
hard.
I knew. That's all I knew, son. And so that stage was so intense, man. Like, Rene Redzepi, like, around that time, he was a real G, man. He was there before us, and he was there after us. You know, sometimes he'll make us breakfast, bro.
Really?
Yeah. And we come through and like porridge from chef and shit, like, yo, like, it was so crazy. And I just,
you know, man, I'm happy you're saying this shit, because when this motherfucker went through his shitstorm recently, nobody says this.
Nah.
And as a brown man saying this shit also, it's like, you know, I get it. There's people that don't have the advantages, right? But you fucking made it happen. You worked 3 jobs, you saved your money, and you fucking went.
I had to.
So, I don't know, man. Sometimes to me, I think that hood mentality is saying like, well, I don't have the same opportunities. Nah. You got to make it happen for yourself, man. If
no one's going to give it to you, baby.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got to go out there and take it. You know what I mean? And I'm always going to show respect to Chef Rene, because he took his time to like talk to me after my stage, like my last day. he was like, "Who's leaving?" Like we was like in a semicircle. He was like, "Who's leaving?" I was like, "I'm leaving." And he's like, "All right, Harold, let's go to the boat." That's when they had the boat for the experiments and shit.
Right.
Yeah. So he was in the boat with me for like.
Oh, when the fermentation lab was in on the boat still.
Yeah, that was still on the boat.
Got it.
So he sat down with me, talked to me for 2 hours, talked about my career, and he's like, "Look, you ain't got to be a Michelin chef. That's not your wave. You know, you should be a person that gives back to your community. You should tell them what you learned here, how we ran the restaurant, and what you've learned as a chef here, and then give it back to your community. Fuck the Michelin stars. You don't need that shit." I was like, word. But then, you know, I still was a little hungry, right?
Right.
So after Noma, I came home. I opened a couple restaurants in New York, and then I got an opportunity to work for a really great restaurant group called Happy Cooking, like Little Wisco.
Right.
They had Joseph Lenage, Joseph's Groceries, Jeffrey's Groceries. They had Fedora. They had Fairfax, Jolene. Like, it's a really big restaurant group, right? But they're all in the West Village, and these are all neighborhood restaurants. Only like 45 seats, beautiful fucking like restaurants. Kitchens is like 3-man lines. Like, we wearing like fucking aprons and a t-shirt, like type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is like real, like cool, like spots, right? And I worked for a chef named Mehdi Brinkley, who worked for Martin Picard at Au Pays de Cochon in Montreal.
Oh, fuck.
So I was cooking fucking Montreal style food.
Right.
Learned like nose to tail cooking.
Right.
I was making fucking quail ballantines with foie gras farce inside of that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Breaking down fucking whole halibuts, making roulade, wrapping it in zucchini, like old school, real French shit. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking Montreal, Quebecois cuisine. You know what I'm saying? It was an amazing time. I was with them for a couple of years, and then I left that, and then Marcus Glocker was going all over the city, hand-picking motherfuckers to open Batard with him.
Really?
Yeah, he was going all over the city.
Just poaching motherfuckers. He didn't care.
He would go to a group. He would go to a group and be like, "Who you want to give up?" Word to my mother. He's like, "Yo, who you want to give up?" And he came to my group and like, "Who you guys giving up for Batard?" And then so, you know, I just raised my hand. I was like, I want to see what's up, you know. I know his story. Gordon Ramsay, 2 stars, you know what I'm saying? Worked in fucking Sweden, you know, worked for fucking Charlie Trotter, you know what I mean? Like, this is old school. This lineage is nice, you know what I'm saying? And so I opened Batard with this motherfucker, yo. It was only 6 of us, B. 6 line cooks. You understand that shit? We got a Michelin star and 3 New York Times with 6 line cooks, bro.
Damn.
We was in that bitch at like 9 in the morning until 2 a.m. son.
That's what it takes.
Oh my God.
That's what it takes.
And I worked on Tremet. I was getting fucked, bro. I was getting fucked, yo. I was getting fucked, boy. Talking about you purees every day. I'm like, yo, there's 17 purees in this motherfucker.
You'd be on the blender for like an hour. Everybody mad at you.
Yo, I got it down to a science,
right?
Where I knew the squeeze bottle, how many orders are in each squeeze bottle. Right. How much I got to pull out of my fucking backup fucking cryovac puree, you know? And I was like, if that chef is working the past tonight, he's going to fuck my shit up. I got to pull this. I got to pull this bag out early in the night. Trying to make us big ass dots and shit. Right.
Dog, that shit that nobody knows what the fuck we're talking about right now unless you live it.
Oh, but man.
Dude, that's right.
Especially 8 o'clock. You're like, oh shit, I got like 15 orders left. Oh, I gotta fucking, you know.
You're looking at the clock like, they're going to hear the blender if I turn that shit on during service, bro.
Not doing service, bro.
That's something you can't. Nah. You got to leave that mise en place that you could do real quick.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only shit.
The little pickle shit, the little quick shit.
Exactly. You leave your dice.
Oh,
you could do your dice.
Oh, man.
I remember dicing carrots to order that I had to roast. Every time I got an order, I had to dice and then cook it. Shit,
nobody knows about that.
No one knows about that life, bro.
That's the life. That's the beginning of shit, B.
Yeah,
you know, and so when I opened the restaurant with Marcus Glocker, that was a great experience. And then I was burnt out, bro. I was so burnt out. I didn't fucking like shave. I was looking like a full-grown Asian person with like long ass hair and fucking like, you know what I mean, no haircut.
Yeah. And
then I took like maybe a month off. And then I was like, fuck it, let me get back in the game. So I went to fucking work the per se.
God damn. You said let me take a month off.
Oh, it was so bad, bro.
Let me go work at the hardest restaurant in New York, dog. Yo, who was the CDC when you went?
It was fucked up, yo. I couldn't believe it. He called me for a stage. I came in, did my thing, whatever, and they hired me. And the crazy part was I was a commis for like 6 months, right? I was doing my thing, so they bumped me to the West Room, which is the private dining room, as a chef de partie. And the fucking sous chef was from fucking this guy from I forgot his name, from fucking France, yo. You know, worked at fucking Joe Robuchon for 4 years.
Right.
Guy Savoy for 4 years. Like, you know, these motherfuckers that fucking this is what they're bred to be. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, sommage, like all this shit during I'm like, yeah, I don't speak French, bro. Like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about right now.
That's right.
He's like, all this crazy shit. So for like after 2 weeks, I went to Chef Eli, who was the executive chef. I was like, yeah, chef de cuisine. I was like, yo, chef, I gotta demote myself back to commis, bro. Right. I can't deal with this motherfucker, man.
I gotta demote myself.
Me and us gonna kill each other, bro. I don't know what the fuck he talking about right now. So I got demoted, and then I just did fucking pasta for like another 6 months, bro.
Right.
Just stuck in the pasta room.
Just bumping out.
I'm living the fucking dream, bro.
Yeah.
3-layer pasta sheets, fucking agnolotis out the ass, fucking raviolis, man. I was just killing it, bro. I was loving it. And then, you know, we got the fucking, that was the year that we got the fucking, the star taken from us. We got 2 stars from the New York Times.
Right.
2015.
Oh, with that was when he came out with that dirtbag article, son.
That
he went to everybody.
Everybody.
I was like, damn,
I was like, it was fucking horrendous, right? And so the whole team was feeling it. You can just feel the fucking, somebody's head's going to roll right now.
That's rough.
And so they had put up, they put up the quotes in the past, right? So they put up a quote. It was like, Braveheart, it was like, you can take away our stars, but you're going to never take away our freedom, or some crazy shit, right?
Right.
Some rah-rah shit, right? And so I said, oh, shit. Beep.
You took a picture of that shit.
Boop, and I posted it on my Instagram. And that was 8:30. It was up. 8:30, it was up. By the time I got back to my pasta station, rolled like maybe 2 sheets, fucking the GM and Chef Eli was right behind me, like, yo, take the motherfucking post down. I said, what are you talking about? Yo, your shit is viral right now. It's like 10,000 views right now. Fucking Thomas Keller is calling us from California to fucking tell you to fucking take that shit down. Because Thomas Keller ain't say shit yet.
Right.
He was like fucking pondering about fucking how God is going to bless him with the fucking, how he's going to respond to this loss of 2 stars before he fucking kamikazes himself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm the one that's standing up. I made like a big ass deal. I'm like, yo, fuck y'all haters. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, we still here busting our ass. Like,
right.
We still killing it. I don't give a fuck about these fucking stars. We know what we do in here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so they fired me that day. They were like, yo, Thomas Keller said we got to let you go. So
you got fired from the horse's mouth, son.
That's right, okay.
He said, get that
motherfucker
Villarosa out of here, son.
What position is he? Is it call me? I get rid of them.
Right. Damn, bro.
I was the first one to roll, cuz.
Right.
And then after per se, I said, yo, fuck Michelin stars, yo. So I went to work for the fucking busiest fried chicken spot in New York City called Jacob's Pickles on the Upper West Side.
Right.
And I fucking worked there for like 2 years, opened another restaurant with them.
And so hold on, you go from fucking per se to a fried chicken spot for 2 years.
Yep.
Okay.
Like a hardcore fried chicken spot.
That's not some burnt shit right there.
Yo, like $15 million a year, bro, off a brunch. I'm telling you right now. If you look it up, Jacob's Pickles right now, there's always a goddamn line all the way to the back.
Is it sandwiches or just straight chicken?
Fucking biscuits and chicken,
Biscuits and chicken.
It's just, I had a line of like 12 Mexicans, bro. It was wild. I had to feed these motherfuckers Coca-Cola and fucking 5-hour energy just to get this shit
they
going.
They be mixing the shit.
Yo, I'm telling you, son. It was so crazy. Brunch, we do like 1,200 covers in 4 hours.
Oh.
Yo, painful, bro.
Yeah, just blood on the walls.
Yo, man. My man, like, I had like 12 line cooks and like 7 runners.
Right.
Runners would have this shit like all up in their arm, running up the steps. Like, yo, that shit was crazy. And one night, that shit caught on fire, B. The restaurant caught on fire. And I was still working it. I was like, yo, everybody relax.
We good.
We good. We gotta
good.
keep this food out. We gotta keep putting the food out. The fucking firefighters came into the door like, yo, what the fuck are you still doing here? Turn the gas off. Everybody out.
Right. That's funny.
Oh man. So what happened was we were still opening the other restaurant. And so what we ended up doing is 2 restaurants in one spot, right? One mise en place for brunch from Jacob's Pickles, and then Maison Pickle was dinner. So I had 2 different teams. I was running like a 45-man team. Ooh. And it was like they would right at 4:30, I would have everybody down the steps with their mise en place on their head on 600 pans. I would have 3 dishwashers ready to go, and then everybody on the line already had their stuff in like 600 pans and bust ups.
Big switch.
And like I just go switch. They lift, they go down. The dishwashers come down, get the floors, boom, boom, we'll sweep, mop real quick. Then everybody just comes in and drops their shit in the fucking in the cooler,
Go.
right back in it like 4:36, bro, just like that, right back into the next service.
Jesus,
it was
Christ,
wild,
dude.
bro. Shit was crazy, bro.
So you banging all that chicken out there.
Yo,
what makes
crazy.
you stay there for 2 years? Just the rush?
I just loved it, man.
Right.
And the crazy part was the restaurant Maison Pickle used to be West, with the first restaurant I worked at that never went back. It was the chef had sold it, and so sold it to the owner of Jacob's Pickles, and then they took it over and created a new restaurant. So it was cool for me to be back in that space, opening it up. And I also called all the old line cooks that I used to work with over there in the West to come and open it with me, just to like close the chapter, and close the loop. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
So it was cool. I had like 3 of them with me, just like they were like super sad, like taking the name of the restaurant off of the window, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It was cool for them too, because they were a little bit older now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was true love, man. It was cool. So we opened that restaurant, then I left. And then I got my first executive chef job at a restaurant called Freeman's Alley in the Lower East Side. It's down this like alleyway. I was like the 7th chef in the 15 years of the restaurant there. So it was like a real honor to be part of that, lineage, you know what I'm saying? So, I was there for a little bit, opened up another restaurant. And then after that, I worked for Klaus Meyer and did a couple of things for him. And then I did another thing in 14th Street.
Right.
But then the pandemic hit. So that's when I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Right.
Like most of us, right? Like
They took it away.
Yeah, they took
your restaurant away. What are you going to do?
That's where, basically, for me, I was going there to like, not deal with my problems in life.
Exactly.
Right?
Run away.
I just fucking
just
work.
bury yourself in work.
Come on, son. 120-hour weeks.
Exactly.
Fuck it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we in there.
You don't got to talk to your family.
Yeah,
you don't got to talk to your girl.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to do none of that.
And I think some people don't understand that. And I think, I think we lost a lot of great players in the game of cooking, right? This pandemic really evened the playing field a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But it also, I think it really gave us a chance and opportunity to really dig deep into our demons of what being a chef is really about, right?
Yeah,
And like you had to confront that shit and really had a conversation with yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Are you in it for the food? Are you in it for the lifestyle? Like, I'll tell you the truth, I got in it for the lifestyle before the food, because I didn't like being at home. Like you tell me I could go to a place, I'll be there for 16 hours.
Yep.
And shit, I could be drunk if I want.
Right.
I could be high if I want.
That's true.
I could talk shit. I could say whatever I want.
Whatever I want.
And nobody will
say shit.
Right? Yeah. And you work with crackheads, and then you work with rich white kids.
Yep.
And only in that place, in that kitchen, are we all equal. And there's no other place in the world that's like that.
All equal, bro.
All equal.
All equal.
Because like even a band's got a leading man.
Right.
Right. And like the chef you're only as good as your weakest link.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And like it's one of the wildest, most rawest forms of watching like before your very eyes.
Yeah. And I think this generation will not experience that.
No, they won't.
Because that was our time.
Right.
That was our time when it was like in between the Anthony Bourdain lifestyle to like the high end lifestyle. It was like a mix, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing I feel sorry for the new cats that are coming. I feel so sorry for them for not being able to like experience that at least.
Right.
Right. Have that as part of their ethos or part of their character. You know what I'm saying? They can either grow from it, right, or go the other way, right? Either or, it's still their journey. But at the same time, I just wish that they could experience that because I created the most incredible bonding like experiences with some of my best friends still to this day are from cooking, right? You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think they're gonna have that kind of sense, right? That I don't think they're ever gonna see a fucking 16-hour day ever again.
No, and the thing is, when we were coming up, a 16-hour day was attractive.
Exactly.
That shit was hot.
Hot.
Oh, you hot?
Who can work the most hours?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's like who could work less. And so at the end of the day, bro, if we're losing our blue collar source, right? So back in the day when we were growing up, you either wanted to be a firefighter or a policeman, right? Before that, you wanted to be a plumber, electrician, hairdresser, whatever. Right. Now, you want to be a YouTuber, and that's okay. It's okay. Yep. But you, like you said, you got to get some kind of merit behind you. You cannot just, because even the most successful YouTubers, they were actors before. They were singers before.
They had to go through some.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think people compare themselves to people a lot. You look at somebody make it on TikTok and you say, yo, what's up?
Right.
But there's a lot of people on TikTok right now calling themselves chefs who have not done what other chefs have done. Yeah. But I'm not going to take nothing away from them because
hustle,
there's a lot of chefs out there who don't have the fucking balls to do their own shit.
That's right.
Or have the put aside their ego and say, you know what? I'm not the leading man, but I'm here to work with a team. Correct. Right? But we just that energy, that man energy that doesn't let you say, you know what? I'm not LeBron, but I'm this guy. Yeah. LeBron needs me.
Somebody's got to play the part.
Exactly. Yeah. And nobody wants to play the part. Everybody wants to be LeBron with no work.
Yeah, I think that's the one issue I have right now. But at the same time, I feel like food, you can't lie, right?
Yeah.
So the food's gonna dictate it, right? So somebody that has no experience opens a restaurant, I'm gonna let the butts and seats dictate that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If so, I don't really need to prove a point in that regards. I think what matters now is just using a platform to really speak about what you want to talk about. Speak about your truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like I was telling you earlier, so during the pandemic, I'm wondering like, what the fuck I'm gonna do next, right? Mm. And so, one of my friends calls me. He's like, "Yo, you want to talk to Brookfield Properties about a restaurant in San Francisco?" I said, "What are you talking about?" It was like they're trying to open like a Hudson Yards type thing over there, and like they're looking for a Filipino chef that works for the community. So, in all my career, I've been always giving back to the community, and like having kids come down to my restaurant, and I had a nonprofit. So I did that for like 10 years. So that was like my MO in New York. You know what I'm saying? And so when I got on the phone with these guys from Brookfield Properties who own like Brookfield Place, they rent the World Trade Center, like all this type of stuff. This is the biggest real estate company in the world, right? And they started doing constructions in Filipino town down in Soma in San Francisco, and they created this little space, like a park, the whole nine. There's like a whole situation there, and they pushed out most of the residents, like that lived there for generations. Mm-hmm. So one of their call to actions as part of their kind of due diligence of opening that space was that they had to give back to the neighborhood, and either housing or programming, all that kind of stuff. Even the restaurants that are supposed to be there have to have some kind of Filipino influence,
right?
Because you're a Filipino town. You know what I'm saying? And so they were like, Filipino chef? I was like, yeah, perfect person. So they, we had a conversation, and I had to check him, and I said, look, the only reason why I'm gonna take this project on is if you have, a program for the community and like giving back to the community and all that stuff. And so we ended up, having this whole conversation, and then, we ended up taking on the project. And so, we're working on it still, but I want to talk about really is how working with the city, working with a landlord, and having community activism really creates the delta in a space or in a neighborhood. It creates that real change, that we've always talked about as as a generation, this woke generation about giving back to your community and like uplifting each other. Like, I think once you have those three things going at the same time, and also those three things that are working together in unison, you have something magical there that's happening. And so that's what we're trying to build right now in Soma. And once we, get the eyes, get the space going and all that kind of stuff, we really want to create the restaurant as a cultural center, as a place where people can, any color or anybody can come in and eat. We're not gonna create this price point where it doesn't make sense for the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we're super lucky and we're super excited about the project, and we're happy to be part of San Francisco now.
Dope, man. Yeah. Fuck yeah. I feel like the tech people, obviously, tech shit ruined San Francisco. Right. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. It's just what happened. But it's really sad to me that everybody just like humans do. They come in, they use the shit, and then they're like, fuck this, I'm out. This place is fucked up.
There was so much culture in San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying. And it's all lost now, and you guys are just going to leave? Yeah. Like, that's it. It's too hard. Oh, let's seal it. And
everybody's depending on your fucking cash flow.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, that's why New York is the greatest city in the world. And that's why they could claim this shit. Because they have people that actually care about where they're from.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because of history and New York was established before San Francisco. I get it. But just in terms of camaraderie and togetherness of chefs in New York, you see that. In L.A., you see that. Yeah. You don't see that in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that's very interesting for me, too. I've noticed that.
Bro, there's this disconnect here from Oakland and San Francisco. It's like, bro, it's the same.
Yeah.
Let's not let a bridge fucking,
so weird.
There's
21 bridges in New York.
Right. That's a good point, Chef. Shit, they ain't nothing but what, 3?
Yeah.
2?
And everybody's still cool.
Super,
You're just gonna be proud of where you're from. That's
exactly.
it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta rep that. Mm-hmm. And I think, we wanna, be able to be part of that new movement. Because I think it's just weary to me to see, there's a lot of the Bay people are in New York right now. I noticed that. They all open restaurants and shit, and I'm like, yo, you could have just done that here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this could have been fire over here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, I'm noticing now there's, a new influx of, homegrown talent that's trying to do something.
There really is. Because they love this city. They grew up in this city. Yeah. They don't want to see it go away.
Yeah.
You got Nico Pena over there at Octavia. Like, he's doing it.
No, Octavia's a great fucking restaurant.
Yeah, dude. And that guy's doing it for real, and so I just, especially with all this shit that came out recently, they didn't get no James Beard Awards, they ain't shit no more. It's there's, again, it hurts the cooks that are still there. What about the dude who makes pasta at Cotonia?
You can't tell the motherfuckers not doing this.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the same thing with you, per se, the stars. Fuck the stars. Mm-hmm. Because some assholes didn't include us on the list this year, bro, as James Beard will be on there next year.
Exactly.
Everybody gets a ride at some point, right?
That's right.
So, I don't know, man. I'm happy that you're here fucking helping out. Because I feel like there is chefs doing it, but they're doing it alone. Or they feel like they're doing it alone. And I'm here to kind of lift the walls up.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to be. I wanted to come on. Mm-hmm. I just it's I just want to let everybody know we're here now. You know what I'm saying? There's you had Selassie here the other day. Yeah. She's a great chef.
Man,
doing her thing. And you had Greg too. Jeff Reeve. That's opening
up. Yeah, Jeff Davis.
He's opening up Burnell. He's a great guy. You know what I'm saying? And OGs like Nelson German up at Sobre Masa.
Exactly.
These guys always want to build a community. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Ronnie Miranda. I talked to him.
That's right. So I'm really, I'm super excited to be in the Bay. I'm very humbled and very grateful to be here, to have an opportunity to really have a platform. And having the Filipino food as a platform is cool because you would never really get that opportunity in New York because there's so many different cuisines, right?
Right.
And everybody's trying to go for the top, right?
Yeah.
And here you have an opportunity really to
write the history,
rewrite the whole thing and just be at the top real quick as you do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? If you get the right vibe, you got the right price point, you got the right food, it works. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? People will come out and I went to Liho. Those guys are geniuses.
Yeah.
They don't let nobody in before 5 o'clock, and it creates a big ass line outside, and everybody just standing there, and then you drive by, and you're like, the fuck is this restaurant?
Right.
And then you go in, they fill the whole spot one time, flip it at 7:30 for the second seating, call it a day, making mad money.
That's how you gotta do, bro.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of what happened was the chefs that came from Rene Redzepi's class, but the people that aren't Thomas Keller, right? So the Josh Skeens, the Daniel Pattersons, like those dudes, I feel like were the biggest gatekeepers, that said, oh shit, the media thinks I'm the shit.
Right.
Fuck everyone else.
Right.
Like I've done events where Josh Skeens walks in, doesn't say hi to anybody.
Yeah.
Thomas Keller, every fucking time he walks in the room, he says hi to everyone.
That's just his MO, man.
Right?
Yeah, this is
and I'm
MO,
like, that's the difference between, like, if you want to be him, you got to be that. If you're not willing to be that, you can't be that great.
Yeah. That's ego, son.
Yeah.
That's ego.
Exactly.
That's
it's
ego.
like telling you what you are not good at and what you can do, what you can't do. Get the fuck out of here with that, man.
It's not that good anyways, B. Tell you the truth. I spent a lot of money in this mother. It's not that good,
hey,
buddy.
bro. You're telling the truth.
It's
And
not
that's
that
your
good.
truth, And that's the thing. Like, with these awards, I don't want to take nothing from nobody. Right. How do we celebrate the winners, but still maybe understand that the losers aren't shit? It doesn't mean you're nothing.
Right.
It means you get there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, it's that ego, man. It's that chef ego will kill you, son.
It's too much.
Will make you look at reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Will make you, again, forget your whole family. You go into this industry and it just swallows you, and you don't give a fuck while you're in it, bro.
I mean, it's so crazy. Like, why are there dead chefs?
Yeah.
Like
dropping dead.
Like
straight
who,
up.
Like, are we saving lives? Are we like nurses? Like, it's just food. Why are you blowing yourself? You know what I'm saying?
So much stress for such a little
what?
thing.
You see how many people blew their fucking brains, like chefs and shit? Like, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Look at Anthony Bourdain. Like, yo, come on, son. Like it's so crazy, and I think it comes down to knowing your truth, B. And I think the problem is sometimes us men that go into cooking, we have a lot of self-esteem issues.
Yeah, we do.
And we don't have conversations about it too much, because obviously there's the bravado of the whole thing, how people look at you. But in reality, bro, you got to communicate these things, because what happens? You start yelling at motherfuckers and everybody walks out on you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that should have happened to me before. That's why I could talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, like these last few years, I've been really trying to take time for my mental health. And matter of fact, in 3 weeks, I'm leaving. For 2 months, I'm taking a fucking sabbatical, B. I've been hustling for the last 2.5 years.
Right.
I opened a restaurant in the Bahamas. Like, I've done so much crazy shit that these 2 months I'm taking time just for myself. I'm going back to the motherland. I haven't been back since I was 9 years old.
Right.
And then I'm going to go to Tokyo, spend time with them, go to Bali, going back to Copenhagen, going to fucking London. I'm going to Paris.
Oh, shit.
Like, I'm really immersing myself in the food, and really immersing myself in what I like to eat, and really understanding who I am also as a chef and who I am as a person. And I think I'm like 38 years old now, and it took me this long to get here, everybody's journey is their own, right? But, for all those young cooks that are listening to this podcast, you need to take time right now to take a deep breath and understand what you want to be, who you want to be, and talk about your feelings. You have to. You can't have that shit bottled up and you take it out on somebody else, and then just a situation, or you're in a relationship and you can't even communicate your feelings in a relationship. That's why most of us chefs are fucking divorced. I got divorced already.
Right.
Like, we're single, like all these things happen because we had so much issues, and we've been put down so much as a cook, just to get built back up to be whatever this person is supposed to be, that we lose sight on who we are.
You
right?
lose yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't get that opportunity to cook our own food and be able to like, oh shit, I found myself through the food, right? Nobody's gonna fucking put $1 million in our pocket and be like, open a restaurant for me, you brown guy.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? White guys, yes, that's awesome. You know, that happens all the time.
Right.
Yeah, but for brown people, no, man. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna happen. So we have to go through our own personal enlightenment journey at such a older age that it it sometimes takes away from the experiences that we had before. You know what I'm saying? But I think all of us have to go through it. It's part of our journey.
Yeah.
It's part of being human, right? And I'm also understanding now too, like, I really realized that we only have one life to live. I finally realized that. Which is crazy. I finally realized we only have one life to live. And I've decided I'm going to live it, B. The food can wait.
Right.
The food can wait.
It's a lifelong journey.
Come on. It can wait. I can always pick up my knives and bust somebody's ass. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I can always do that. Can always do that. But at the end of the day, I gotta find out who I am. I gotta figure out who I am. And you know what too? It's gonna make my restaurant better. The people that is gonna work underneath me and with me better. And it's also gonna really what we're really talking about. Talking about what you want to talk about and really talking about your truth. You know what I mean? And that's that opportunity.
That is.
That's it.
Because that's one of the hardest things, man, to look yourself in the mirror, you know.
Yes, sir.
Those demons are there, and
yes, sir.
You find any excuse to hide them.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
They're going to come out at the worst times because you ain't ready for it. Man. And then you're even going to feel even worse about yourself because you'd be like, damn, I broke down crying in front of all the people.
And then you're going to lose money too, B.
Exactly.
That also affects your income.
Exactly.
Right? So what are we, how are we going to increase that? How are we going to be better at that, Yeah, and that's the other upside of coming up in this industry now, right? You're not gonna go through these kind of things, right? Yeah. No chef is gonna fucking yell at you, call you a fucking loser, or like you're a piece of shit, or you know what I'm saying? And they're not gonna do that. They can't do that, because they can't lose a fucking body right now. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think they'll experience that, but I think the other way they'll get a chance to know themselves too, and I think that's very important, and. I used to make fun of motherfuckers to be like, oh, I'm going to therapy, or at Mad 4, when I went to Copenhagen for Mad 4, they had a whole lady come through and talk about mental health and like made us like do like chants and shit in this big ass tent. And I was laughing at that time. I was like, oh, look at this fucking everybody.
Why are we doing this?
Well, we doing this shit. But in reality, Rene Redzepi was ahead of the fucking conversation. He was like, what's the future of kitchens, man? And so... those are the things that I think about now. As I'm getting older, as a person that's carrying this torch, these legacies that I've been part of. And I think some chefs forgot about that too. That they're part of a lineage. You know what I'm saying? It starts from Fernand Pont, and it comes down to fucking Escoffier, and it comes down to Gordon Ramsay. It comes down to fucking all these motherfuckers that work for them.
There's degrees of separation with every cook.
That's right.
And that's something that we, like I was saying before, like sports and actors, those industries, Hollywood, they take care of themselves. Right. They're fully sustainable within their world. Yep. And that's why when a pandemic comes, they're still in business.
That's right. Correct.
Every one of the NBA teams is still there. Every NFL team is still there.
That's right.
Fucking pandemic comes, 300,000 restaurants fucking wiped out. Because nobody has each other's back.
No.
And it's like, if we would have been smarter, we would have had systems set up to where we're putting in money every month. We take care of ourselves. We don't need to ask the government for no fucking money. Like exactly. Like a union.
Yeah. And the problem is too, fucking restaurant owners are greedy as shit.
Yeah, man.
They're just greedy motherfuckers, and
if you can't rely on a restaurant to make your money.
No.
Restaurant profit margins are not enough.
Not even 3% anymore, bro.
That's what I mean. So you got to have your hustles on the side, your sponsorships, your YouTube channel, your fucking podcast, your merchandise, right? MBA it. You got to fucking ESPN this shit. Sir. And if you ain't doing that...
You're stuck.
Exactly.
You're stuck.
And we'll be stuck in the old days, just like when YouTube and Facebook, all that shit came out. What were you doing? Cooking in the kitchen? Who fucking needs YouTube? Yeah. Who fucking needs Facebook?
Look at it right now.
Now look at us. We on YouTube. We on Facebook.
Yeah. Bro. It's interesting though. we as chefs, we always learn from our mistakes, right? Which is like how we approach like food. Like you gotta run that shit a couple times before you can even call it as a dish already put on the menu, right?
Right.
So I feel like once we get the hang of these things, and I think you're leading the charge with the food podcast. There's also a couple other podcasts. There's like in a bagel shop. Like there's like a bunch of like food podcasts that are coming up that are like
You doing
cool.
it.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
And I think just like everything else, right? You put your head down, just keep grinding, keep putting out content. One day it's going to click, and then you have so much content. You be ahead of the game so much
Yeah.
that you know what I mean. That motherfuckers can't even catch up to you.
Yeah, because
You don't need no big name motherfuckers.
Nah.
You need real motherfuckers that's been in the real fucking game.
the leaders of the future,
That's
dog.
right, man. Motherfuckers that really been in the game, really trying to make a change, and the old cats, their time is almost done.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And they know it too.
Yeah.
That's what they're fucking whoring their names out, like
Scrambling
everything.
around, yeah.
Man.
For sure.
Daniel Boulou just opened a fucking restaurant in the Bahamas, be like out of nowhere, son. And Daniel Boulou has like 4 restaurants he just opened in the last 2 years. Like what?
Right.
But
Michael Mina, same thing.
They're planning for their walkout.
Their
They're
retirement.
They're planning to get the fuck up out of it. So it's gonna be our turn next. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta learn from their mistakes too. And like you said, have side hustles, have your main restaurant plus your workhorse restaurant,
Right.
and feed each other like type shit.
Right.
That's how you do it, man.
Yeah. I mean, Thomas Keller was the one that kind of did that first.
That's right.
In terms of high-end restaurant having a group. He knew that, okay, French Laundry, this shit don't make no money. I need a
zero.
Bouchon.
That's right.
I need the burgers to pay for the fucking caviar.
Mm-hmm.
And
then Bouchon Bakery.
Exactly.
Ad hoc.
Yeah.
Just to cover the whole block. I went up there.
Yeah.
Fucking Yountville, that motherfucker's the mayor.
Dude. from end to end, bro.
Yeah. That guy's the fucking mayor, bro.
Dude.
He might as well be the mayor.
Yeah. Well, you know what I was talking to one of the cooks who used to work for him.
Yeah.
This motherfucker owned a lot of real estate within Yountville, right? So if you were a cook, you paid him rent. You wrote your checks to him.
That's some
so I'm like, that's an
shit.
ecosystem is what he built,
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. I think chefs try to be him, but not build an ecosystem.
Yeah.
They're just like, give me all the good shit, but I don't want to do all of that shit.
That's funny because, that's also a story of chefs that burn out, right? They all want the fame and the glory, but they never want to put in the hard work. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting. And I think, branding is big now too, right? Like you have to brand yourself and you have to attach yourself to a certain branding, because chefs are getting, cut off left and right too, and getting canceled and Me Too.
Right.
So you gotta be aware of like who you partner with and all this kind of stuff. So it's very interesting now.
Yeah. That's why it'd be good to make sort of like an ethical committee that's by us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I even thought about we should have our own awards. Like the BET Awards of fucking food. Like why can't we have that?
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And if no one's gonna think about this shit, dog, then I guess I'm just gonna have to be me because I'm fucking,
I'm here to help, man.
Sucio Studios, let's go, baby.
Yeah, I'm here to help, man.
Press conferences. I actually just booked one Monday.
Nice.
With the dudes from Slow Burn.
Perfect.
Andy Dubrava and Tiffany and Nico. They're all doing a joint dinner on Wednesday. So I'm getting with them on Monday, and we're going to do like a press conference before
podcasting?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then basically what I'll do is I'll drop it alongside their dinner.
Perfect.
So because we do these guest chef dinners, but then we don't talk about the food. Just fucking everybody just goes home now. That's another thing that I realized. Like when we were coming up, you clean fast because you want to get to the bar to get a drink.
That's right.
Now you don't clean fast because all you're going to do is go home. Nobody parties anymore. Nobody goes out, gets a drink because why? You listen to this motivational dude who's like, you shouldn't drink alcohol ever. I get it. I'm not advocating that you go out there and be an alcoholic, but a little bit of moderation is needed.
Yeah, it's part of our culture, though.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's part of our culture to go drink. Yeah.
And it's just like, the gluten shit. And like, we grew up eating bread. What are you talking about? The daily bread. It's part of the fucking Bible.
That's right.
Like, how going to be gluten-free?
How did you become gluten-free?
Exactly. It's got to be because the food chain is now fucked up, you know? Right. But it's like, how do we change that? That's going to take over 400 years to fix.
That's right. Yeah.
But if we don't start now, then how the fuck we gonna get there?
That's right. You know, I mean, like guys like Dan Geesty, you know, they're really
Yeah.
they're really trying to start it from the bottom up.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's
With the
tough.
school chef shit,
Yeah,
prison chef,
That shit's tough, man.
bro.
That's
That
hardcore.
just like he's, you know, in a game in a space that nobody believes in.
He's out there by himself.
He's tough, bro,
Yeah.
and he's just like, fuck it, I'm still doing this. I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
Mhm.
And there's chefs out there that be hating on him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you hate on him, you hate kids, man.
You hate
You
life.
straight up, yeah, bro. You hate life. Like somebody's trying to feed the kids, bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, crazy, man. Well, yo, Chef, thanks a lot for
appreciate
being
your time,
on, man.
I appreciate it.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we'll do another one now that you're in town. I know it's all good. We'll get the live situation going. I'm starting to do live shows.
That's fire.
Starting to get that hooked up. So
That's fire.
I'll let you know. We definitely should get one.
Would you put it like on Instagram and all that?
Yeah. So what the plan is to do it live on YouTube, all platforms live, while you do it there.
That's fire.
So sell tickets to get the people in.
That's fire.
I'm about to hit up Darren Lamboy. He does the Puerto Rican food truck Boricua
Yeah.
Kitchen. For him to do the food.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah.
There's a Puerto Rican spot there?
Yeah, it's called Boricua Kitchen. It's a truck.
It's a truck.
There's two of them. There's La Perla and that one.
That's the one I've been to.
Yeah. Boricua Kitchen is fire though. He's Wednesday. He's on that street over there by the Bank of America in Alameda.
Perfect.
But the way I'm seeing is like, you know, the way that events are is always like you gotta have servers passing around food. It's like, how about a fucking barbecue with the shit's
Or
on the
just chilling.
table? Yeah,
Chilling.
just put it on the table,
Put
man.
it on the table, son.
Scoop your rice, get your chicken, all
Chilling.
good.
Chilling.
So I'm like, we fucking thinking about overthinking these events,
Too
man.
much, bro.
Put a table there, and then we'll sit some people down. We'll have a conversation, Q&A, and then the coolest thing that I'm thinking about
That's
this
fire. I like that.
is that in the middle of the night, like after this event is done, right? Let's say we go 8 to 10. At 10:30, now we go to the after party.
Fire.
Now I'm bringing 30, 40 motherfuckers to your bar,
Yeah.
straight up affecting your check average.
Yes.
So Sucio Talk will bring money to your location.
Perfect.
You know?
Perfect. That's
Ultimately,
fire.
that's what talks, right?
That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. I mean, that's how it starts.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think those type of events are amazing, you know, because, you know, live podcasts is cool because you have a live audience.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Drink Champs, right? Yeah, it's probably like 20 people in that room, you know,
Right,
just
right.
like listening and like laughing
Chilling.
and shit, chilling, you know. Why can't we do the same shit? Why can't we do the same
Yeah.
shit, right? And
That's
is
right.
food. This is food. Everybody loves fucking food, man.
That's funny that you say that
Yeah.
because that's where I'm taking the inspiration. It's $1 million worth of game. It's Drink Champs together with BT 106 in Park, you know, and fucking The Basement. All that encompassed with hospitality, Thomas Keller, fucking,
Crazy.
you know.
And you know the funny shit, nobody can be like, oh, your motherfuckers ain't never worked in some shit because the resume speaks for itself.
Exactly.
Just look me up.
Exactly. That's what I will say though about people tear down Michelin, but it's those Michelin resumes that get you jobs, bro. Because I'm out here and people are like, "Oh, you worked 3 Michelin, you're hired."
Crazy.
You know. So let's do it.
Congrats,
Chef,
man.
thanks a lot, man.
Thank you for the
Appreciate
play,
you.
man. Thank you for
for
the
sure.
love.
Sucio Talk Podcast. Check me out live every Monday at 10. Check out the new live shows coming out. I'll let you guys know. Suciotalk.com is the website. Peace.
Word. That's cool though. You did this yourself, or
Yeah, dude, I just figured it out.
you got skills with the.
No, this was that's an artist out of New York. Harold. Chef Harold Villarosa. What's going on? Sucio here. Just want to say thank you to all the listeners out there for supporting, emailing, calling in 510-463-1145. So you can call in, leave a message. For those of you who have been doing that, thank you. Just had Chef Harold Villarosa on the show. This is actually his episode right now. Lots of gratitude from Sucio Talk flooding the airwaves of podcasting. Just so you know, this is going to be one of the biggest podcasts in food, if not the biggest. Okay, in terms of reach, in terms of ways that we could positively affect the world. I'm always going to work towards that. Being a chef is very complicated. There's a lot of demons inside that you got to deal with. And it's something that I talk to Harold a lot about. And I think we all just need to dig deep, do a little bit more soul searching. But then after the soul searching, we need to act on the things that we've found, right? The new knowledge that we have. And that's the biggest disconnect that's happening right now. We have these good thoughts, but then we don't implement them. We don't make a change. And we need to make a change in order to get to where we need to be. Okay? So, with that, Sucio Talk Podcast. Shout it out from the rooftops. Share it on social media if you can. Tell people about it. This is a podcast that's going to be listened to in kitchens worldwide. Shout out to my new fans in Singapore, Canada. You're making a dent in the percentage of guests that listen to or people that listen to the show. Shout out to all the people out there just trying to keep it together. I'm with you, all right? I know it's difficult, but we're here. We got each other, and that's all that matters. All right? So just if you need to air your grievances, if you need to do a shout-out, if you need to give thanks, the Sucio Talk hotline is there for you. If you just need to let something out, right there. Nobody's going to judge you for it. We're just going to throw it on. We're going to listen to it. It might be funny. It might be sad. It might be hard. It might be soft. You never know. But we're going to keep it open for everybody to be able to express themselves in the way that they want to express themselves. You may or may not agree with things that are talked about on this show or people's point of view, and that's okay. We don't all have to agree with each other. As long as you're not out there killing people or raping boys or raping people in general, then I think that we all just have to think that we all have everybody's best interest in mind and nobody's really out to harm you. I know that it's difficult to think that in this world where people are constantly harming you, and it's always people in people's family that are harming them. There's a lot of shitty situations that happen, and also we need to realize too that when people are out there being like, you got to try hard and you got to do this and that, I know that there's people in this world who don't have another choice other than what they are doing. Okay, so it definitely comes from a place of sort of privilege when you say follow your dreams and you can do whatever you want to do. Like, only in the United States can you do that. Like, I don't know of any other countries that have the availability of resources to do that. Everybody moves over here from other countries to do that. So just be aware and be grateful about where you're at. Because if you're listening to this podcast, then that means you have a certain level of privilege. Right? I have a certain level of privilege that I'm able to produce this podcast. Is it fucking difficult? Am I exhausting every resource I have on this podcast? Yes. Like, it doesn't seem to me like it is a privilege. But I have also just grateful that I have a struggle, because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't have a struggle. And because of that, like, that is their struggle, right? Lack of struggle is your struggle if you have no struggle. So with that, I leave you. Sucio Talk Podcast. Only the best. Only the hardest, the realest, the rawest chef, cook, person, human talk there ever was on a podcast. Be well. Be safe, whatever you're doing out there while you listen to this show. Enjoy this next episode. Just had to hop in real quick and say thank you to everybody. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. Love you, bros. Love your family. Puerto Rico numero uno. Boricua forever. Peace.